guess we need an intro. Let's go.
Hey there, Steve here. Quick thank you for checking out the episode, and quick apologies as well for the audio quality in this episode. A few teething problems as we got going, but we've got it sorted out now. It will be only in this episode.
I guess we need an intro. Let's go.
Hello everybody, thank you very much for clicking play and welcome back to Exitpreneur 360. This is a podcast that I'm creating kind of just to share my story, tell whoever's interested what the journey that I'm on and how it's going. I think it's an interesting journey. I think you will too. A lot of people who know me are on it with me and are chiming in from time to time. So yeah, I appreciate you being here, and I'm excited to share. I'm joined again by one of my favorite people in the world, Simone Lipschitz, who is she's my cousin, but from way back when, and known each other all our lives. And I've asked her to just join the journey with me and help me out by sharing my story. Sim, thank you for being here. Nice to have you back.
Thank you.
slowly getting more comfortable on the microphone.
I can't believe what you're saying about me, but yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so I do have a very high opinion of Simone, and you'll kind of pick that up over the episodes. And you know, I plan to, Sim has been kind enough to help me out to get things started here and get things rolling. And we were actually just talking about, she's also been through a lot in her career. I think she's got some great stories to share. So as we get into the episodes in the future, hopefully she'll share some of the successes and failures that she's had, because I think she's an entrepreneur in herself. She's run her own PR agency, and I think she's got some good stuff to to teach.
And learn.
And learn. We all do. And that's what this journey for me, the Exitpreneur 360 journey is about. It's about learning, man. And today, that's the topic I want to talk about today is the topic of mindset shift. You know, it's something that's very close to my heart because I've been going through a mindset shift for the last 2 years. And I say going through it because even though I feel like I've shifted 180 degrees and I'm in a completely different space to the person that I was 2 years ago, I still feel every day that there's things about me that I'm learning, or that my mindset is shifting about. And I'm realizing that this mindset shift, which is a real buzzword, it's something that we see on Instagram and TikTok and all this bullshit, candy floss social media nonsense that we look at. But it's real for people who are going through it, and for people who are actually, and that's what I'm going through, is this mindset shift. As I say, it hasn't been a switch on the lights and things have changed. I'm on a journey and it's changing, which has been unbelievable. So I wanted to discuss that today. You know, if you haven't caught episode 2 and episode 1, I'd encourage you to go listen to that. Episode 2, talk about what was the jumping off point for me. What was the moment that I realized that I needed to enter into this world and start identifying myself as an exitpreneur, somebody who's exiting a corporate job and walking away from the security of salary and all that stuff and becoming an entrepreneur. But the thing that gave me the courage to do this was the mindset shift. And people, you know, just in an effort to make it as clear as possible to what a mindset shift is to me, there's a very cool challenge. And if you've seen me, I'm one of those people. I'm like a vegan or a CrossFitter. I've done this challenge over the last few years for a couple of times, and I tell as many people as I can about it because the changes were absolutely, and I've told you, Sim, about it already, so you know about it, but I'll tell you again, is I did the 75 hard challenge, which was Andy Frisella, who's an absolute fucking maniac as far as I'm concerned, but in a good way, Andy. Hopefully one day you hear this podcast and you realize I don't mean it in a bad way. He's an absolute beast of a man. And he came up with this challenge. The challenge very simply is, for those who don't know, go look it up, and I encourage you to investigate it. That's why I tell people about it, because I feel like anybody who does it, and actually not only I feel like, anybody who has done it or does it and completes it is going to become one of those CrossFitters or vegans who tell everyone about it. Go do it. 75 hard, very simple. You spend 75 days of your life in a row, no excuses. You have to complete 5 things every day. The 5 things are, you have to do 2 45-minute workouts, you have to drink 4 liters of water, you have to stick to a diet, you have to take a progress pic, and you have to read 10 minutes of nonfiction. Every single day for 75 days. And if you miss even one of those things, or you do 43 minutes of a workout or not 45, you start at the beginning again. There's no excuses. It's not a physical challenge. It is a mindset and a mental toughness challenge.
The limit of commitment sounds insane.
It is pretty insane. And when I first was introduced to it by Damien, who was the CEO of my previous job, I also thought it was insane, and I was doing it very much out of loyalty to him in a way. And then when I got into it, I started to, that's what's so cool about it, is the mindset started to shift immediately of like, you're doing this out of loyalty to a guy who you kind of like and look up to, and like, but are you actually doing it because you want to do it? And then slowly I started to realize, I actually am enjoying this, and it's actually been good for me. And then there was a time, as you get to day 50, 55, 60, you start realizing, this is so boring. It actually becomes, it's not that hard anymore. That the 245-minute workouts aren't that challenging, and the 4 liters of water isn't that hard and all that stuff. You start to get a bit bored with it, but you finish it off and you feel great. And then I felt so great, in fact, that the year afterwards, that was in 2023, I did the entire year challenge. It's called Live Hard. But I won't get into the details of the challenge. Why I want to talk about the challenge is there's a very cool concept that Andy discusses. Oh, by the way, it's not a medically endorsed challenge. I don't, and I still to this day don't think drinking 4 liters of water every day is good for a human being. I did have one very near run-in with drowning, or the thing where you overdrink.
That's very dangerous.
It's very dangerous. And I'm not saying the 75 hard challenge is very dangerous. Maybe I was just doing it irresponsibly or whatever it was. But there's no doctors out there going, yeah, you should do the 75 hard challenge. 2 45-minute workouts every day for 75 days could wreck somebody's body if they're not right for it. But that's where the mental toughness comes in, is you've got to decide, is it something that's right for you? Anyway, the point of why I bring up 75 hard is there's a very important mindset concept within it. And Andy, in true Andy Frisella fashion, Sim, you listened to his one podcast. What did you say? He can't speak without swearing.
Yeah. Not a full sentence.
Yeah.
Without.
Andy's
very colourful.
colourful. He is very colourful. It's a good adjective for him. I like it. But in it, he talks about the 75 hard challenge, and he discusses that there's a mindset concept in it called, he basically calls it, in every human being and every mind, we have 2 voices in our heads. One voice is a boss voice, and the other voice is a bitch voice. And we as human beings go through our life letting the boss or the bitch voice determine what we do. The way that as I learned about it as getting to 75 hard, I realized what the boss and the bitch voice were for me. The bitch voice is the voice in your head when the alarm goes off at 5 a.m. and you go, oh fuck, I'm on day 13 of 75 hard, and all the glory and the excitement is now over. I'm almost 2 weeks in and nobody actually cares. Go back to episode 2 if you guys want to hear about my opinion on what other people think about us. But nobody cares that I'm doing 75 hard. This is all on me. I've got to determine, am I going to see this through? So the alarm goes off at 5 a.m. and you're lying there in bed and you're going, oh fuck, I'm just going to snooze for 15 more minutes. That is your bitch voice. That is your bitch voice going, dude, you're going to snooze for 15 more minutes. Then in 15 minutes, you're going to hit it again.
It's not going to get easier.
Exactly. Your bitch voice is tuning. Your bitch voice is looking at the last 500 milliliters of water of your 4 gallons on day 35, going, oh, you've done 3.5 liters, man. Half a liter's not going to make it. Your bitch voice is saying, yeah, man, just leave it there. You'll be fine. Your boss voice, on the other hand, is saying, hey, man, shut your face, get your ass out of bed and go, because you said you were going to do this and you are going to do it. 500 milliliters of water is not a lot of water. 5 a.m. is not that hard. You said you were going to finish this, go do it. So that is a very real manifestation for me of a mindset shift. There were a bunch of frustrations that led me to go look for my mindset shift, and for things that could give me control over what I was doing. I was quite frustrated at work. Again, if you haven't listened to episode 2, I encourage you to go look into it. But in my job, and that's what this journey is about me leaving a corporate job, walking away from its guaranteed salary and the security and all that stuff. But at my job, I didn't have much control at work. I was working in a business that had become quite corporate. I was an executive in the business, and I was part of the board, and it was fine, but it wasn't my natural place to be. I wasn't being listened to. There wasn't much place for me in the business anymore. My job had been done. I'd revolutionized what I could revolutionize, and I'd made significant changes where I could over the 8 years I was there. But one of the only places I could take control was over my body and my mind, which gave me the confidence once I decided that to take control over my destiny and say, hey, this is actually not good for me. I'm not doing what I should be doing, and I need to go do something else with my life. So so what I did was I kind of got that control in my life and determined, hey, this 75 hard is good, it's giving me control. And it started to reframe my mindset almost immediately. I stopped feeling sorry for myself, and I had this concept, as I said in episode 2, of no one's coming to help me. I'm stuck in America. I can't travel back to South Africa. I don't have my parole card. I'm stuck here. I'm on my own. My family's far away. My friends are far away. I was feeling very sorry for myself. I was a victim. And then I started seeing those obstacles as opportunities, and started seeing the opportunity as I physically grounded, I don't know what the right word is, grounded through the 75 hard, like year-long challenge. I started to embrace grinds and challenges, and started realizing the challenges were making me better. One of the things, and again, it irritates me that I'm proud of this, because it's such a buzzword at the moment. Everybody's doing it. It's so good for you, your vagus nerve and all that. But the cold plunges and the cold showers, I had to do cold showers in LA. It's part of the...
You fell for it.
Yeah. Straight. I had to do cold showers as part of the Live Hard program. Is that your second phase, or your first phase is you have to do 5-minute cold showers. And if anybody knew me, I fucking hate cold water. I struggle with. I used to stand in the middle of summer. I'd stand on the edge of the swimming pool, and my nieces and nephews would laugh at me because I'd stand there for 15 minutes, like hesitating to get in because I was so scared of the cold. And this is in the middle of summer, and I had to just start getting over that bullshit. Like it was literally a physical mindset shifted, like a carving into my brain of, dude, you said you were going to do this, and if you miss one day of showers, you've got to start 75 days, because this is phase 2. So you've got to go back to 30 days, and then you've got to go back to 75 days, and you miss the whole year.
Did you start craving it?
So I didn't start craving it. I didn't start craving it until a year later.
Okay.
So the first time I ever did it, I literally got into the shower. It was without a doubt one of the toughest things, and it's so stupid to say that, I'm actually embarrassed to say it, but it was one of the toughest things I've ever done with my life. Showered for 5 minutes, and you have to stay in for 5 minutes. You can't stay in for 4 minutes and 30 seconds, because then you start the whole year again. You're like, it's literally and it's on your own honor system. You have to just keep yourself honest. So I stayed in, I did the 5 minutes. I was so proud of myself, got out of the shower, dried off, and completely naked, climbed into bed. This was in the morning, and I absolutely just passed out. The physical drain on my body from doing this, I took for granted how hard, and I'm sure a lot of it was to do with the mental, how much I'd worked myself up for it. Absolutely killed me. It knocked me out. Day 2, day 3, I started getting a little bit more comfortable, but I never, for 30 days I did the cold showers, I never once got used to it or enjoyed it. When I got back to South Africa in January this year, I started doing cold plunges again, but now this time I was doing it in the swimming pool. And middle of summer, it's easy, 24 degrees, whatever it is. Over the last month, now we're in May of 2024, over the last month, so I've been doing them every single day, jumping the pool, and I've watched the temperature go down from 24 in the middle of summer to 20 degrees, 18 degrees, 16 degrees. The last week, it's been 12 degrees. And apparently, you can only consider a cold plunge if it's anywhere below 15 degrees. So, which is fine. I'm still cold plunging in warmer water, but only over the last few weeks has it been at 12 degrees.
And has it got easier?
And I've been running a lot as well, a shitload of running. And over the last month and a half, when I get home from my run at 6 o'clock in the morning, I walk past the swimming pool and I can feel it calling to me now. Literally calling to me saying, dude, come, let's
But
get it
I think
done.
it is scientifically proven. I mean, there's people like Andrew Huberman that talk to the science behind it. I don't know enough.
I haven't. I also, and that's why I say I'm not going to force it onto people. Say, oh, you should do cold plunges. I'm just saying I do them, and they're fucking great for me. There has to be something scientific, because I legitimately walk past that pool, and this is a human being who literally would stand in the middle of summer and 15 minutes wouldn't get in the water because they're so scared of that initial splash. Now, 6 o'clock in the morning, the sun's not even up in the sky, and I'm jumping into the pool.
And there's mist rising from the water.
And I stay in there for 5 minutes, and I'm fucking proud of myself, man.
And so you should.
And it feels good. It doesn't feel shit. it doesn't feel shit. I don't know.
I mean, I've heard it from others, where friends of mine that are used to doing it every day. If they're having a bad day or feeling a bit lethargic or yuck or out of it, they have that plunge and it sets them
So
straight.
that's interesting because and it's interesting to hear you say that about other people, because for me, when I was doing the cold showers, somebody had said to me just after, I also had a little community of people that I built over Facebook. They were doing the 75 Hard or the Live Hard Challenge with me over the years. And I was talking to someone and they were asking me, I can't remember who it was, and they were saying to me like, dude, what do you get out of the cold shower? Like, I was like, oh no, apparently it's good for this nerve or whatever it was. And I was like, actually, and I stopped and I said to him, you know what the reality is? What I get out of it is I go for a run in the morning, I go have a cold shower, it's shit, and then I get out. And then for the rest of the day, anything else that I have to do in that day doesn't come close to being as difficult as that cold shower.
Yeah. You can deal with whatever
it
comes.
Puts perspective on what else you have to deal with.
It's like, bring it on.
Yes, exactly. It's as I don't know if it's, and again, I don't know what the science there is, but that's what it means to me. Is if I now have to make a phone call to somebody and fire them, let's say, and which is shit, and I don't want to do it, or I have to go into a big pitch meeting and sell myself or whatever it is, and I'm like, fuck, I'm never great at this. I just like, bro, you jumped into 12-degree water today, and now I'm looking. The weirdest thing is I'm looking forward to the water getting colder and colder as we get into fall winter. I can't wait for 10 degrees and 8 degrees.
I think we're getting there quickly.
Yeah. But you know what I mean, like that. So what you say about your mates saying that they love it and it does something for them, that's what it does for me. And like when I tell it to people, most people are, okay, I can see that, because it's a shit thing to have to do. And my biggest fear right now is that I'm beginning to enjoy it and look forward to it. And I don't want to. I want it to suck, so that it's always a tough thing for me. Do you know what I mean? And that's where I think, like, as I said to my sister, after this winter, going into summer, I think my next step will be to buy a chest freezer and have an ice bath. Because I don't think you ever get fully used to that. Anyway, the point is, getting back to embracing the grind, and like that's where the mindset shift came from for me, was doing these shit things, going for 2 45-minute workouts, jumping into fucking ice cold water. It was crap, but it started to make me better. It started to make recognize like what was a challenge and how good it made me feel to get over a challenge. There were a bunch of things that were making me feel negative and that I needed to get out of. Things like the weird hours I was working, the lack of recognition, potentially fractured relationships with some of the people I was working with that I wasn't enjoying anymore. Seeing things in our industry, dangerous trends in our industry that I brought up to the business and said, guys, we should do something about this. And it wasn't, we didn't action it in time and that sort of thing. So also not buying into the vision of the business anymore. There were a bunch of negative things. The routine was killing me. I realized that I'd spent 8 years in a job that had become quite corporate and that was very business oriented. And I'm a very creative person. I'm not an indoor mouse. I'm an outdoor mouse. And I realized that what I'd done is I'd stopped off in this role for a few years to drink from the fountain, and drink I did. Like, I learned a shitload. But I think my education was over, and I now wanted to go and put this stuff into other places. And I needed to move on, and I needed to go put it into practice elsewhere. So reframing this helped me empower myself. Just getting this mindset shift of instead of bitching and moaning, being a bitch voice about it and blaming others, and focusing on what I couldn't control. Oh fuck, this is so shit, I've got another meeting. Oh, this is not going well, all that. I decided that there had to be solutions out there that could clarify what I wanted to do. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I didn't want to just be a cog in the machine. I wanted to actually go out there and be an exitpreneur, which is what I've become. So the one of the major triggers for me, actually, it's quite a weird one. And again, as I said to you in episode 2 about sitting on that couch, I'll never forget that moment of sitting on that couch thinking, nobody's coming to save you, bro. This is all on you. You better sort your life out. There was another moment that I had where Damien, the CEO of the business that I was in, kind of said to me, and he wasn't saying it maliciously, and he kind of said to me, oh, you've never run your own business. You don't know what it's like to have that responsibility. And as I say, he didn't mean it. He didn't say it in a negative way or in a bad way. But I took it in a bad way. I took it as a fuck it, he's right. I've never had it on the line. I've never had that opportunity to say, you better ante up or get out kind of thing. So that really fueled me, that one sentence. And I think he and our relationship had become one where we were a little bit competitive with each other, but a little bit we weren't. It wasn't the best relationship towards the end. We did have our issues with each other. And it made me realize that not only had I had run my own business, even though I had a small agency years before, I recognized what he was saying was I'd never run a business on the level that he was running a business, and that's something that I wanted to do for myself. So, you know, I had a lot of that victimhood mentality within me, and I think in my life I've been through a lot that could potentially have made me feel like a bit of a victim. You know, my family history, which you're quite aware of, you know, my childhood cancer, and overcoming that, my brother and his story of being shot, my dad's situation, his illness, and then passing away. And you know, then just me physically, what I am, I'm quite a short guy. I'm bald. You know, I'm a key person who should get bullied in a way. And I was quite bullied, but not outwardly, and not. It was always surreptitious. It was never like outward. I was never bullied at school. I was saying to Mika, one of my nieces, yesterday, not one day was I bullied at school. I managed, thank God for my cancer, managed to give me a very big mouth. That the fact that I walked around with no hair for a year in like age 12, age 13, the key time to get bullied.
You also get noticed. Yeah.
100%. And I did. There were guys who tried to bully me, and I managed to just, thanks to my father in a big way, I managed to have a bit of a mouth about it. I was very quick and sarcastic. And from that day on, I just never had shit. I got into high school as this short guy, and I was just able to be mates with everybody. And I realized, like, in a way, in my relationship with some people in the business, I was getting bullied in a way. It wasn't, as I say, it wasn't so outward, but it was a little bit negative, and it wasn't a good place for me.
Just taking advantage.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, it was the ultimate mindset shift. It was turning that bullying, that negative comments, like that comment from Damien again, which he didn't mean in a bad way, but I took it as fuel to say, hey, fuck this, I'm actually going to go do something about this. So it was all about just reframing the challenges that I'd had, you know, I'm just sharing the story because these were my challenges. Everybody else has got their own challenges, and it's all about recognizing what is your big challenge and how do you get over it. I had a very interesting moment with my father many years ago, where we were training for the 94.7, and we were doing it, and I got knocked off my bike by a car while we were training, and I cracked my wrist. So he took me to the emergency ward to go get an x-ray. And we were sitting there in the emergency ward, like Saturday afternoon, whatever it was, and sitting there waiting to get x-rayed. And across from us, there was this family that was just in an absolute state, crying and crying. Their kid was there with a broken arm. Crying. The mother was crying, the father was crying, the kid was crying, everyone was crying. And my father, and I was probably about 19, 20 years old at this stage. And my father kind of turned to me and he said, you know, see that family, look how hard they're taking this broken arm. He said, you see the shit that we've been through in our life. And by this stage, my brother had been shot and I had survived cancer 8 years earlier or whatever. He said, can you see us sitting here? We're not worried one bit about a cracked wrist. It's probably what you've got. We have to have the extra, but it looks like you got a cracked wrist. Fine. It's not even phasing us. Why? Because we've been through all this other shit. Cancer and a gunshot wound.
Makes you resilient.
100%.
You can deal.
100%.
It's the same as a cold bomb.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It hardens you, galvanizes you into action. This family, on the other hand, were broken about a broken arm. It's all about perspective. We all have our shit. And to that family, that broken arm is their brain tumor, their cancer. Fucking let them have it, you know. If that's what they've got to deal with, that's your problem, then that's fine. Don't let anyone ever tell you that your problems are meaningless, because your problems are your problems. You've got to deal with it. For that father, that was the worst thing that could ever happen to his kid. And maybe, please God, to this day, that is the worst thing that's ever happened to that kid. Please God, they never have to deal with other shit. But it's all about, you know, dealing with your problems and reframing your challenge, your mindset into a mindset that looks at your challenges and goes, let me use them for fuel rather than for fucking hatred and for bringing me down and for staying stagnant to where I'm not supposed to be. Go take your challenges and make them something that can make you better and happier and better. Just don't sit. If you're not in the right place, don't sit where you are. Go do something about it. That's what the key takeaway for me from this podcast, or what I want to be, is hopefully somebody listens to this and goes, geez man, if this always walked away from a job, he's doing something about making his life have purpose. I can do the same. Go do it. Stop saying you're going to do it. Stop thinking about the right steps. Stop thinking about the right time. You said, I think it was in the last podcast or this one, about waiting for the sign. Stop waiting for the sign. Draw your own sign.
There might never be a right time or a perfect time.
There never
just
is a right time. And this is from someone, I'm exceptionally bad. My whole life, I've been a very big procrastinator.
Same.
Have you?
Yeah, yes.
It's an absolute crash.
And I can see myself doing it.
And you know
I'm doing it. And
you can't stop it.
Yeah. It's that bitch voice or the
boss voice. We must talk about that, and I think we can help each other through it, because I feel like I'm getting much better at not procrastinating, but I still find myself 2 weeks later going, bro, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Why have you not done this?
In fact, procrastination helps me do things that I never have time to do. Like,
You procrastinate one thing and it allows you to unprocrastinate on other things.
Yeah, all those things, the cleaning up, you know.
And what's frustrating, as well as I read a book about procrastination once, it was in LA, I can't remember what it was called. And it was such good lessons in it. And I procrastinated putting them into practice.
It irritates me. I irritate myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know who's an unbelievable, whatever the opposite of an activator, I don't know what the opposite of a procrastinator is my sister.
Oh, she's amazing.
My sister does not
She is amazing.
pause for a second.
Yeah. She's the highly efficient, high-functioning,
irritating,
overachiever,
painful,
very irritating, quite annoying actually.
Goodbye, everyone. Oh, give us the HBO special, please. Give us the Help a Brother Out special. Give us a like and a subscribe, please. And share this with somebody who you feel might find something good in this episode. We'll catch you on the next one.